everyone, welcome to our class. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about very important topic of the chapter cell, that is semi-autonomous organelles. Now very first, we must know what the semi-autonomous organelles are. The organelles which are capable of making their own proteins, which are able to replicate, it means they are able to form their own copies without the help of the cellular DNA. It means what? That the cell is able to perform half of its function, or we can say some of its function by its own. Okay, it is not completely autonomous. It is semi. For rest of the activities, it is depend upon the nucleus. So under this, we'll talk about two main structures, mitochondria and plastids. So semi-autonomous organelles are two, mitochondria and plastids. Now why they are considered as semi-autonomous? The reason for that, they have their own DNA and they are capable of synthesizing their own proteins. That is because they have the complete machinery for that. Complete machinery for protein synthesis. DNA is there that will replicate to form another copy of DNA. Then that transcription will take place. RNA will be formed. Proteins are there. Okay? So in that way, both the structures are capable of performing half of their functions, we can say. Totally independent nahi hai, semi-autonomous structures they are. So we'll discuss their structure and function one by one. So very first we'll talk about mitochondria. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Powerhouse means the way the powerhouse supplies the power to the whole society, to the whole city, okay, to perform their activities. In the same manner, the power, that is the energy in the form of ATP, is provided to the cellular components, to the other organelles, and whatever the functions are performed and energy is required, that energy is provided by mitochondria. Because of this reason, it is the powerhouse of the cell. This was very first observed by Kolliker in the striated muscle of insect. Okay, it was first observed by, okay, and as an organelle, this was what we can say, the organelle was considered by Altman. Altman considered mitochondria as an organelle. As an organelle. And the term mitochondria was proposed by, or we can say given by, C. Benda. Okay. Term mitochondria was given by C. Benda. Okay? Now, the number of the mitochondria varies as per the physiology of the cell or what kind of the cell it is. Highly active cell, then the number of mitochondria will be high. It can be 1 to near about 1600 of mitochondria per cell. Okay? Near about 400 of mitochondria were observed, that is the maximum number in the flight muscle of an insect. Okay? Sausage shaped structure it is. So let's see how it is going to look like. This is the double membranous structure. The inner membrane of mitochondria is highly infolded to form the structures called cristae or crista. Okay? So this is what? Outer membrane. Okay, which is mainly composed of phospholipid. It means the main composition of the outer membranes are phospholipid. Less proteins are present. Inner membrane of mitochondria contain more amount of proteins. That's why it is more permeable to the substances. Inner membrane contain more proteins as compared to that of outer one, and this contain more lipids. Got it? This space, this is the perimitochondrial space. Okay, space between the two mitochondrial membranes. These structures, these infolds, these are known as cristae, plural. Okay? Plurally, cristae, singularly, crista. Got it? We'll see what is the benefit of or what is the purpose of this infolds also. Mitochondria contain its own circular double-stranded DNA. Okay? One DNA, I'll just write double-stranded DNA, okay, and one. Okay, this double-stranded DNA is rich in guanine and thymine. Sorry, G and C, cytosine and guanine. It means that we know that guanine and cytosine, they are bind together with 3 bonds. So we need more energy for denaturation of the mitochondrial DNA as compared to that of the cellular DNA. Okay? What I have said, the DNA is double stranded. Okay? Circular DNA, double stranded, circular, which is rich in guanine and cytosine composition. And we know the guanine and cytosine are binded together with 3 hydrogen bonds. So it needs more energy for denaturation. Fine. Other than that, mitochondria contain ribosomes. Okay, its own ribosomes, and the type of ribosomes are 70S ribosomes. 70S ribosomes are present in mitochondria except mammalian mitochondria. In the mammalian mitochondria, the type of ribosome is 55S, as it is 70S or 80S we read, but in the mammals, the cells, they contain 55S ribosome in the mitochondria. Fine. Okay. So this is the structure. Now this inner fold of the membrane, that is the crista, contain the structure which is termed as F0, F1 particles or oxysomes. Okay, what are these oxysomes? Let me draw for you. These tennis racket like structures which are present over here, these are the actual site where ATP is synthesized. They contain ATP synthetases which help in synthesis of the energy currency which is ATP. These are called oxysomes. Fine. That is called oxysomes. How they are going to look like? This is the base, this is the stalk, and this is that particle. This complete is the oxysome. This is F0, this is the stalk, and this is the head which is F1. Okay? So this particular part is embedded in the inner mitochondrial membrane and only this part is visible to us, F1. Okay? Clear till this particular point to everyone, I think. These are called the oxysomes. Okay, so this head of the oxysome is mainly responsible for oxidative phosphorylation, that is the formation of ATP. Formation of ATP. Clear? Fine. So this is about the structure of mitochondria. Now we'll talk about little bit detail about its function and another important information. Now generally mitochondria, few terms are used for it, like a powerhouse of the cell, cell within cell. It is also called as cell within the cell. Semi-autonomous organelle we have already told. To get powerhouse of cell. Got it? Other than that, the active, most active organelle, most active organelle, it is cell batteries, we can call it, or storage furnaces. In this way, these terms are used for mitochondria. Okay? So structurally we have discussed. Okay? Now mitochondria, functions we'll talk about. Okay? So functions, it is mainly responsible for cellular respiration. Okay, generally what happens in the mitochondria, the glucose breakdown, that is glycolysis. Okay, so during this glycolysis, glucose converted into pyruvate. Okay, till Till this it is going to take place in the cytoplasm. Afterwards, when the Krebs cycle is going to take place, that will going to take place in the mitochondria. We have read this thing. The aerobic respiration is going to take place in mitochondria. Anaerobic respiration take place in cytoplasm. Got it? So this was the first function. This is the main function. Generally, it is responsible for this only. Okay? Providing energy, because as a result of cellular respiration, ATP is produced. That is the oxidative phosphorylation production of the ATP molecule, adenosine triphosphate. So that contain the head of the oxysome contain what? It contain ATP synthetase that help in synthesizing ATP molecule. Fine. Next is how these mitochondria they get originated, or we can say like from where they have been formed. It was observed that the mitochondria structure, if we'll see, not completely, but it resembles to that of the prokaryotes, as it contains the circular DNA, as it contains the 70S ribosome. So they originated from prokaryotes. Fine. And more mitochondrial copies are formed by binary fission. As they have their own DNA, so they can replicate and help in making more copies. So this is all about mitochondria. Now we'll talk about plastids.